Welcome back, everyone. Another exciting show. We've got a Friday show today. Going to go for about an hour, 50 minutes to an hour or so. Got a lot to, I'm sure, well, we have a lot to cover if you all ask your questions in the chat. And we definitely got some green candles to go over, so that's always fun. And always good to have Carlos back on the show to talk. He's got many talents as far as tax and finance and stuff go. We did quite a few shows. So just take a look at those if you're interested. Top tax AMA, or I think we did a wealth mindset or wealth planning or something like that on one of them too. It was really interesting. And we played the game. We played the you know what? I'm bringing him in. You can tell me the name of the game. I almost forgot about it. Welcome back to the show, Carlos Quintana. How's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty well. It's called the cash flow.
Cash flow. Top of my head, I was like, it's something. Okay, cash flow. Yes, super funny.
I'm interested in knowing your updates about that, what you got from that game and what you've done differently now. Put you on the spot with your viewers.
That's a good question. I think definitely. So playing the game. So we played it, and I played it one other time with some friends, and just during. So the first time I played it was with the friends, and then during that I was like, wow, this really it's making me think of about a budget, about making the hard choices, about short-term and long-term type of stuff, and how to actually fit it in where there are bounds. It isn't just like an unlimited credit card where you can just spend as much as you want. It is there are bounds you have to stay within if you want to progress in the game. And then when we played it, it was more of I think what I took away was some of the stuff you were sprinkling in about, oh, this is different ways to do taxes or different ways to set up the finances, or I think we talked about real estate. We talked about different instruments and assets and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think. The question was, did I make any changes in my personal life with that so far? Nothing other than being better prepared to. I think crypto is one thing. Real estate. You got stocks and public trade assets and stuff like that. Maybe just giving me even a longer term mindset. Before it's kind of easy with Hex, for example. Oh, you stake as long as you want. And it could be 5, 10, 15, it could be 10 days, whatever. But after playing the cash flow game, it was oh, wow, this is how the world operates in this machine of assets, this machine of actually taking care of your personal finances. So it was definitely, it gave some framework. It gave a better framework, even after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and reading a whole bunch of different pieces of books and stuff around finance and stuff. The game actually put it into, here's the situation, what are you going to do, and actually forced me to think about things a little bit harder. So I hopefully it'll pay off in future decisions and planning and stuff like that.
I think it also kind of switches a little bit about what is it that you're going to do. Once you get into that situation, for you to quickly kind of act upon am I going to invest it? Am I going to use it for personal things? And, I shouldn't be done with the money. And it is at least there's a little bit of a mindset of let's plan. So when that event does happen, am I going to use it for personal reasons, or my goal at the end of the day is to invest it? And what am I going to invest it on? Am I going to reinvest it into crypto, or am I going to take it out of the market and put it into real estate? And what are the benefits of that? So it kind of makes you think about, once you start playing the game and you are in the court, moving your money around and buying property and doing all these different things, you have now debt to deal with. And now you have the landlord problems to inherit. And there's a bunch of different things that now you have, which, allow you to have that sort of thing. So, but you need to be playing the game, right? You need to be involved into how to grow your YouTube channel and how to grow your career and your skill sets, in addition to obviously being updated with the crypto market and so forth, to see where your investments are going to grow, a lot better.
I think when you mentioned the planning, I think that's the biggest thing, was putting yourself give yourself the framing to have a planning mindset and understanding the consequences of placing your different bets. And like you said, having landlords, having the debts, and not just hey, hopefully this works. It's more of okay, each one you see the consequences of, you see how well it goes. So it's cash flow. I'll put it in the chat too, cash flow game. If you haven't played it, if you'd like to gift a friend or spouse or otherwise. It's actually a really fun game. It's like a very like engaging Monopoly-ish type of like that kind of vibe at least game. So highly recommend Cash Flow by the for that guy, Mr. Man, I cannot remember names today. Robert Kiyosaki. There you go. Anyway, lots of not sad news in the last week or two. I was telling Carlos he's been. I mean, anyone who's been taking a break from the ecosystem, I totally get it. But lately, it's been very, very exciting. I was trying to keep him, catch him up to date. Let me bring up the ups real quick before we get into. Oh, you got one excellent question there. We're going to get to in just a moment from Fox Monitor. But look at that. Look at that. This is on 24 hours. Richard's been tweeting. That's how the green it's been. Richard's been tweeting about green specifically. So 24 hours, Hex, I mean, the other one's up as well, PulseX and Inc. Hex 20%, 7 days, 51%. Let me click 30 days, Carlos. Should we go? Boom.
300%. Where were we that it's 300% growth on 1 penny?
Where else do you get it? Shouting from the rooftops. All the community has been saying, buy when it's cheap, lock up t-shirts, all this stuff. And then now you get to see the fruits of the labor of people who may have picked up sub penny Hex and otherwise 337%, along with the other ones not doing too bad either. PulseX 106%, 70% from PulseChain, and Inc 82%. But the big winner in the past month, Hex.com, baby, looking good. I like it.
Hey, update me on what happened to Hex on ETH. Do you no longer track the price on that? Like I heard that there was in the community a big thing of saying something along the lines of Richard saying something about ETH on Hex. I mean Hex on ETH, and then everything kind of just went crazy. Can you update me on that? Because I didn't really pay attention to that too much.
Absolutely. That was also a very fun time earlier this year. 2024 has just been amazing. That was, I think, March, right after the Vegas PulseChain tour meetup. Yeah, Richard, I mean, I literally did like 5 streams on this, going through the different scenarios and talking about the side effects and all that stuff too. Yeah, basically, in summary, there's different opinions of different perspectives. But my perspective was he's trying to get everyone to come to PulseChain. He basically signaled that Hex on Ethereum was like the old one, Hex on PulseChain is the new one. Everyone try to support that more, or like the market has decided that it's worth more, so now that is the Hex and everything. And the eHex is eHex and Hex type of thing, which had a lot of interesting side effects because a lot of people are building on eHex. Some projects we'll see even maybe had to go back and reconsider how the whole parity, the theory of, okay, are we going to get parity? Are they going to be merged together? I've even talked about, if there was a Hex v2, would that be something to synergize both of them and be an amplifier for the ecosystem as well? But yeah, basically he said, I mean, I guess he doesn't care about Ethereum coin tokens as much as PulseChain tokens, and that had a huge effect on the market. Well, I say that, but we had a huge run up because that's when January, February was just start popping off of PulseChain. Had a huge run up, and that was kind of the end. That was kind of like, okay, now things are going to go down. How big an impact Richard saying that on it? A lot of people think it had a big impact. How much of it was, okay, we just did this huge run up and now we're going to go down, and did it go down more, but all that stuff too. But that's basically made a tweet talking about trying to promote PulseChain Hex more. Market has decided, infamous tweet. And then, it's basically been, let's see, from April, there's a few pumps here and there, but from April until about a month ago, it was kind of just sideways down. And then we started getting a pump up. You see here, was that September 8th, September 6th, 8th, something like that, it looks like. And then 11th, right after that, boom, boom. And then this is eHex, by the way. So eHex has been doing pretty well as well. I don't know exactly how much percent it's up, but when we go on PulseChain Hex, you can see, around that in 8th and 9th, just started going up. So doing really well so far. Don't know where it's going to go from here, but boy, it was like I said, the last few, again, just let me if I can go back to the tweet, I think it was about right there, March 11th. That sounds about right. There, boom, and then just we went up again. Oh yeah, no, we're gonna, and then
Man, that's a roller coaster of a chart right there, man.
Hex.com. What do you expect? Nothing less than roller coaster rides. Hopefully, volatility up to the upside for the most part from where you bought. That's what we hope happens, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But a sign of relief, I guess, for a lot of people who are just like, do something, and then Hex did something the last month or so. So we're happy about that right now.
That's awesome.
So,
how about the community? How about the Pulse community? Are there like any new cool projects to look at, or like what do you see right now in the Pulse community?
So there are a ton of projects. I think most everything is launched and or got tokens for, as far as all the sacrifice phases. There's not a whole lot of those anymore. There's been a few new things, but Go Real DeFi. I don't know if you've ever used Go Real DeFi, by the way. It's my website built for community to do the apps, and I don't know, like when you go to use like go to hex.com or if you use PulseX or anything, do you just go there and you click on the IPFS link, or how do you do it these days?
Well, I had it all bookmarked, so I just go to my bookmarks and I go directly to hex.com and then go to the pineapple whatever link just to check on the stakes or something.
Gotcha.
And that's about it. It's not really much more than that. After the whole bloodbath started happening, I was like, my exposure in crypto was too much. So I think that I just started to kind of back up a little bit from seeing other opportunities within the crypto world, and I started looking in real estate and business and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, to reference back into those sources, I go directly to the website.
Gotcha. If you're ever interested in, because this was like when all the apps got decentralized. Now, for example, if you go to hex.com, it'll be like, okay,
Pinata, whatever.
Yeah, I think it used to be different stuff too. Yeah, so step forward for decentralization. You could argue a step back for onboarding, because a lot of people, I mean, you obviously like, okay, this makes sense. Maybe you know what IPFS is. Maybe you just like kind of got the gist of things, how it's going. But a lot of people are like, hey, I don't know what to do. What's the hash? I don't know all that stuff. And then when you click on it, of course, it takes you to get like the super long URL. And you're like, okay, hopefully this is DeFi. I guess that works. Anyways, Go Real DeFi. When it happened, I was like, all right, this could look nicer for new onboards. So for example, if you go here, you click on the Hex app, it'll go to hex.pulsechainapp.com, which is just a gateway, a view of of this. They're exactly the same. It keeps automatically up to date with the bridge, with PulseChain, PulseX app, all that stuff. So quite a few people use it. I use it. Like I love using stuff too.
That's great. I never knew how to access the bridge. I just didn't finding the link for it and doing all these different things. I was like, where is a source that can give me all these different things? And I just never knew, or at the point that I was trying to be interested in it, there was nothing together to give me all the different. So, or adding the tokens, that was another issue. Like once I was into PulseChain, adding the tokens to make sure I was seeing the balances that mirrored from ETH to Pulse, getting those addresses from the Pulse. I was like, where do I get the addresses from?
Yeah, it's there's a few different things, but yeah, Excore, if you to get addresses for verified tokens and stuff, you can get it from the Scan app. But yeah, it's obviously the common advice is like, don't Google for the bridge links. There's a bunch of scam links out there. All this is literally go to Go Real DeFi, click bridge, and then you're on the bridge. And you connect your wallet. Again, this is all just a view of the app. It's not the app itself. It's just a view that makes it. You get a URL that looks a little nicer. It's one click button here, and it's all verifiable. If you click verify hash, this is like the security portion of it. It'll go and show you, the official site, go to hex.com, site gateway, hex.pulsechainapp.com, the official hash for the app to know which one you're talking to. The site one, it'll compare the two. It'll look at the website hashes, so just a little bit extra security stuff, and then tell you okay, or it'll say fail if something is changed or off, which usually just means like something failed to update or whatever. But it takes all the data from the official website, and it's
not like you're getting them into a website that looks like it. This is verifiable data that is taking you to the real site and not just something that mirrors that website.
It's literally just, I can show you the code. Like if you right click on bridge.pulsechain.com, if you right click, go to view page source, 21 lines of code. I've got videos that explain all this stuff too, but I'll just briefly show you. You can see exactly how it works. All it does is say, show me this website, show me this app, which is exact same link that it's hosted on the official one. And it says easily confirm this. Yeah, just go to the website and look at it. Super simple.
You did this?
Yeah, I built a website. It's been about been almost a year. I think last November, December, I launched it, and so far I love it.
Very cool, man. This is very, very cool.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, a lot of people use it. Well, that's why I built it. I was like, man, I don't want to. The whole thing back then was, you got to do 2 clicks instead of 1 click, and it's like I think it's a little bit harder than that for new people. They're going to look at a website and not see a staking portal. They're going to see.
I'm not new.
My pinata.
I'm not new, and I still couldn't figure it out sometimes. So this is very helpful.
GoRealDeFi.com if you're interested.
All right, that's good.
And I said that to say you asked about projects, and I'll get to chat in just a minute. By the way, I know chat's popping off. Appreciate you all. But for projects, also not in addition to the original idea was to make it easier to go to all official apps. In addition to that, it also has places you can click the links and where you can buy Hex and Pulse and PulseChain from like fiat and different conversions and community websites for actually buying the cryptos. And then navigation has a bunch of different links to different places and sources. And for example, if you click projects, it'll go to pulsecoinlist.com/map. And you asked about our vibrant ecosystem. We have, wait for it, loading. How many? I'm going to say 200 and say 200. Oh, I was going to say 230 something. 243. 243 projects on PulseChain, from analytic stocks to DEXs to DeFi products to on-ramps and community stuff and everything else. So over 200 projects, almost 250 projects on PulseChain running. You can use them for all different kinds of things. So quite a few builders. We got the believe in true DeFi and hopefully making mad gains, much more than kind of repeating the Ethereum. Ethereum did with Richard always said, like 14,000x or something like that. And we'll see how far we get. But yeah, man, there's a ton of different stuff going on as far as that goes. We could spend there's different places to do limit orders.
Any favorite of yours?
Trying to think. There's different tools that I like using. For example, with Omnis, if you do, it's kind of like, I don't know how much you do like limit orders and stuff, but this is like one place to do it. It's like a DEX aggregator that'll, 1 second when it loads. I'll show you, my internet's a little bit slow right now. But essentially you can get like, hey, I want to spread my order out. I want to get the best deal on buying Pulse or PulseX or whatever. And you can create a limit order that will run, and whenever it gets triggered, you can like ratio trade stuff with it. You can do it with dollar amounts, all that. So my internet's slow right now, but so that's one. You got 9-inch DEX, you got all the different DEXs here. Pitius, if you haven't used that, actually highly recommend it. It is like an order aggregator. It'll go through all the different liquidity pools and help you find the best deal on particular transactions. So instead of going to PulseX, like a lot of people, instead of going there, they'll go to Pitius and just use it to swap, because it'll go across a lot of different pools instead of just the PulseX pools, for example. Nothing's loaded. Okay, this one launched, but I guess that's kind of like I think the most popular things that I use on like a day to day, if I'm like doing crypto stuff, is of course, like if I'm staking something, I'm using staking portal or the Hedron staking portal or something. But for swaps, this is kind of like the go-to for me for swaps. Is just using Pitius, piteas.io. Just because it's going to give you the best deal on stuff. It's kind of like, actually, I think it's PulseChain. Does it support other stuff? No, it just supports PulseChain. I think it's like literally like a new thing, a new product. It's like there's actually tech, like new tech and stuff launching on PulseChain. So that's one of them. I mean, there's different tokens and stuff too. I mean, I talked a lot about the GIF ecosystem before and different buy and burn mechanics. But that's kind of tokenomics type stuff. As far as products go, I mean, there's the different dexes. I mean, you could just go to PulseCoin list and just like try some out one day. Yeah. Oh yeah, Hex Scout is a really good one for Hex stuff. Okay, instead of using, a lot of people have moved from the original Hex app to using like Hex Scout to manage stakes because it's just super even more beautiful and more analytic driven in different ways. You can look at like wallets, type in any address, see the stakes. Let's see if Godwell will come up. I got to type in actually if you go to portfolio, the Godwell, it'll show you like Godwell stakes, how much money has in these wallets. Yeah, just a cool $157 million net worth for God. Shout out to Godwell, by the way. We hope you start making some splashes in the green direction anytime you want. No hurry. But anyways, really great website. So there's been a few actually this year and late last year. There's been a few different products launched to just help people manage and see and do analytic stuff and like manage portfolios and all that. So yeah, Hex Scout. Shout out to Hex Scout too. They did great work.
Yeah, that's a great website. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, if you want to go realdefi.com, like under navigation, I got a ton of different onboarding stuff. If you want to onboard new people, I produced a playlist, got 43 different videos, little 2-minute ones of how to buy and stake Hex, how to create a PulseChain wallet, how to use the bridge, how to trade on PulseX, all these different things. So a lot of people have been building. I mean, I've been building a few different things and just trying to get people to place because when they're coming in, the most frustrating thing for me is like to be able to have somebody who actually wants to go buy the tokens, participate in the ecosystem. They want to stake, but there's just no easy way for them to do it. Or they just get confused and they just, okay, I'm going to go buy, some other coin. It's like, no, you're right there. We got you in the community and did all this stuff. But trying to make that better has been one of the things I've been trying to do for the past, I guess, a couple of years now. So regardless of the price go up.
It's a lot of good work. A lot of good work, man.
Yeah. Got a lot of great people in the community working on it. I'll say that. And again, shout out to Godwell. Anytime you want to make some splashes up, anytime you want to just market by 10 million, just that would
help.
Imagine. That would be an interesting day. I'll say that. All right, let's get to. You feel like you're up to speed, by the way? Any other questions top of mind?
No.
Go through a couple things.
No, I mean, I just want to know. I think as Bitcoin goes up, the halving happened and then Bitcoin went up in price so much. Now it's going to be in doing nothing and just up and down, but just within a few thousands. And last time that we were in this space, that was a time when all these projects started to come up and those are the times that it got boring. But for the people that were actually involved, it started to become very profitable within the next 1 year or two. So I think that we are within that sentiment of getting boring, but I think that this is going to start picking up in the other ecosystems. And we know it's Ethereum first and then everything else. But at the same time, I think that, keeping an eye out on all these different projects is going to be very important.
Definitely. Yeah. And we had no shortage of people building stuff, like making things easier. I think now it's just, hey, how do we get people in? How do we need to wait? Does the market need to start shoving people in? I'm like, okay, it's risk on time. And then we're like, oh, we have these products here. How do we're primed. We've got everything we need. The network's working great. Just how do we get people interested in crypto? And again, buying and staking and playing all these hopefully healthy games for building wealth. Hopefully a lot of people, there'll be many, many more millionaires minted over this next cycle.
Healthy. It's all
find good products.
It's all degens here. What do you mean healthy?
That is one side effect of price go down for a while and interesting market conditions is people have went to shorter term games and more of the gambling style in a lot of directions, which I'm hoping we're due for a reversal into some quality products and healthier games, hopefully.
Yeah.
First question that came up in the chat. Well, not really a question, it's more of a statement, I guess. hit us with some crypto tax hacks. What is top of mind for you? Got anything around that, Carlos?
Sure. I mean, it depends on how much we're talking about. But I mean, that's a bread and butter of tax strategy, you know. So if we want to talk tax strategy, it depends on what you want to do and all these different things. But I can just name them. Tell me which one you're interested in for me to talk about. Because obviously, for example, we can talk about changing jurisdictions to a different country, and you know, it sounds cool and exciting and all these different things, but it's not worth it if you're not talking about seven figures, you know. um, and look, there's other things like a qualified opportunity fund where you invest the proceeds from capital gains into real estate, specifically in a qualified opportunity fund, and you defer the gains for 6 years. And then if you don't take out the money, there would be then up to 10 years you could kick the can down. And for specifically on the project that you're building on the qualified opportunity, because you can build your own qualified opportunity fund in a development. Let's just say that you're building a home, you could build your own qualified opportunity fund. Then you don't pay capital gains taxes on the project that you built, but you got to hold it for that 10-year period, and then defer the taxes on the other capital gains for a 6-year period. So I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. You got charitable remainder trusts. You got to be careful with those, but it's a way for you to have your crypto when it's at a high value, and you don't want to incur. Let's just say that Hex in Pulse went from 1 cent to 30 cents, and we're happy again. And now we got quite a lot of money in the bank and, well, in the crypto as far as valuation. You put it into a charitable remainder trust, which is kind of like, it's a trust that has its own kind of like charity in it. There's some things that you have to do in it, but the charity in itself, the CRT could sell the crypto and doesn't pay any capital gains taxes. So obviously you've saved yourself that much, and you kept the capital within your own pocket. But now it's in the pocket of the trust, obviously. So there are certain things that you have to obey, like you have to donate at least 10% of whatever fair market value there is at the end of the beneficiaries, or, you know, life. Well, not the beneficiaries' life, the one that formed the trust. And when you do pass away, you have to donate at least 10%. And how do you then recapture that? Well, you can take it through an annuity to kind of get some of that money back into your pocket if you wanted to. But it's a way for you to get a massive tax deduction for the donation of all that appreciated crypto, and you're not donating it to someone, you're putting it in your own kind of foundation. And that's a massive way to get two benefits: the donation as a benefit, and also not paying any capital gains on the appreciated asset. Then what else is there? I mean, right now, what I would tell you is that this is a time to harvest losses. Obviously, there's a ton of coins that are still, like, for example, I'll give you me as my example. I bought Hex in multiple levels, at a penny all the way to 40 cents. So I'm pretty sure that I'm still negative when it comes to Hex, right? Whether it's P Hex or when it comes to E Hex. And right now, if I have a positive projection on some other coins that I may have, or even if it's a property I'm selling, anything in relationship to capital sales would be a good time for me to actually sell the protocols or the coins at a loss at the moment and rebuy them. So I can maintain my position, and I can just record that loss as what it is now, so I can accumulate that loss. So when an appreciated asset goes up in price, when an asset increases or appreciates in price and you sell it at a gain, you have all these losses to use because they carry over in your taxes. Even if you have $100,000 in losses right now, and you're only going to be able to use $3,000 because that's what the limitation is, you can then accumulate that to next year for those gains you're going to have in the future. So my recommendation is sell those assets right now at a loss and repurchase your position so you can accumulate those losses for those future gains that you're expecting. So those are things, just on top of my head, that you can do as a tax strategy for crypto transactions.
And when you say sell to loss, is it like literally sell and then the next day buy back at around the same price?
Same an hour later or 30 minutes later or 5 minutes later, it's irrelevant to crypto because we don't have the rule of wash sale as in stocks, where that loss would be disallowed if you repurchase the stock within a 30-day period. So in crypto, we don't have that. It just gets added into the basis of the crypto asset, but it's relevant because we haven't triggered the wash sale rule as in stock. So you can repurchase the same day. It doesn't matter.
Gotcha. So a couple other questions from Fox as well. So follow up on that. When farming, if you reinvest the yield back into the farm, do you incur tax?
Yes.
What if the protocols? Okay. What if the protocol smart contract goes direct from back into the protocol, i.e., token never hits your wallet?
Goes direct from the yield back to the protocol. I mean, I still think that if the token never hits your wallet, there's not going to be a transaction recorded. So what we really care about is that when we have the crypto tax software scrape the blockchain, it's going to record every single transaction that you have. And if that wasn't recorded as a transaction, then is not really a taxable event. It might be taxed as something different because I really have not seen that before. I have, which is an appreciation in the smart contract value. Like, for example, there was a couple protocols that used to have the smart contract, and you put, let's just say, $100 in it, and it would not spit out the interest to you. It would just increase in value over time. And then at the moment of maturity, when you decided to take that, it's like the yield got reinvested in it, but it wasn't. It was just increasing in value over time. And what that does is that it's not taxed as a reward or as yield, or as what we call staking reward. It's not income. It's going to be an appreciated value in that smart contract, and therefore tax as capital gains. Obviously, you have to look at the protocol by protocol to make sure that that's what they're doing, because they use language like mining and rewards and this and that very loosely, and it doesn't mean that is the same thing as something else like proof of stake type of network providing rewards to someone that secures the network versus yield farming. So and they use the same word, stake rewards, so it's completely different. But anyway, this specific question, I think, goes into the context of a smart contract increasing in value over time. Therefore, the transaction would be just recorded as money in, increased value, sell, and therefore that is a capital gain transaction on the increased value, but not the yield portion of it being taxed as income.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, he said, but the user has to call the contract to do so. So I guess there is a button getting clicked here in the protocol that it doesn't go to your wallet, but it sounds like it's clicking a button to say, hey, reinvest this, but like don't give it to me. Just
like I said, it's like us pressing like let's just say that the hex stake reward is there, and then you decided on the hex that needs to be minted, let's just say at the end of the contract. In this case, let's just say that the payout would be 5 hex per day, like we get the payout or whatever it is as if you were to click the button and then you mint 5 coins at a time. So instead of minting the 5 coins at a time, you just leave it in there or press a button saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything with it. Keep depositing the hex into that smart contract. So it's really not, you're not doing anything. It's just, you're just not cashing out or minting those coins into existence. So the fact that you're pressing a button, it just means, oh, I'm not ready to, it's like pressing account. What is it? The
good accounting
type of button where it doesn't do anything, right? So I'm guessing that that's the type of protocol that he's talking about.
Okay. Can you claim impermanent loss?
It's such a broad question. I don't know.
and without exiting the protocol. So I guess looking at the impermanent loss, seeing that you've lost some value, and then
No, I would say no. It's I know what he means is like if something is, I mean, it's kind of relates into worthless stock. Like if you think that that something is worthless, can you record it as a loss already in there? And then the answer is no, because there was no transaction recorded in there, and there's no such a thing. Like if we think about it from the broader perspective, like for example, when someone steals your tokens, right? Or the tokens are no longer accessible because the crypto exchange went bankrupt. What do you do with that? Like you could claim impermanent loss there, right? Like, can you? That's a question. The answer is no. You cannot claim a capital loss, not even for the basis, even if the tokens are no longer accessible. The IRS is very clear on that we cannot claim a loss on those things, because what we need to prove now is that if we do decide to claim a loss on those things, it needed to be stolen through a Ponzi scheme, or some sort of smart contract that you actually signed in the expectation of a return in profit. But if it's just simply your wallet got hacked, you actually cannot claim a loss at all. So that means that claiming a loss on assets that you can no longer that you no longer have access to, or that you or think are worthless without actually recording the transaction on the blockchain is not appropriate. You actually would need to declare the loss if it was a Ponzi scheme, not even on the protocol itself, as far as the crypto transactions, because it's not a capital loss. You actually need to report that loss on Schedule A under theft and disaster losses on Schedule A, which is completely different to the Schedule D, where you report those capital losses. So reporting capital losses on protocols like that is just not advisable at all.
Gotcha. Anyway, it says this is in response to you're asking what happened with EHEX and RH. RH can change about whenever it wants. I agree with you. I think a lot of people are building on EHEX still, and I cannot see it going away. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it'll be. I mean, it works fine. Maybe my position before was like maybe whales will use it because they don't care about the free, the cheaper transaction fees. And I've also said I think Ethereum will fix transaction fees in the future. So I don't know, how long that's going to be like a huge selling point too. I think PulseChain, Hex on PulseChain is gonna if it does become always the more valuable one, it will be because it is part of PulseChain. It is because the network is still viable and going well, and it is the new coin, the future proof type of thing. If it does indeed do that. So.
No, I'm stuck with it. I'm stuck with it 15 years anyway. So
you stuck with 15? Well,
I gotta keep holding anyway.
Hashtag 5555 club. Yeah, there's lots of people we've seen. I'll pull up actually real quick. Let me pull up my Twitter because there have been a ton of people. So much so I had to screenshot it. Yeah, not that one. I had to screenshot. Yeah, so I searched for a couple of days ago. Searched for people making 555 stakes. So many just in that within that 24 hours or 48 hours or so. I mean, you got 500,000 hex, 1.5 million, 5.5 million, 1.5 million, like all these new 5555 stakes, 10-year stakes, just a ton of people, believing it. It's just amazing to see. Like, oh, staking's dead, the narrative's over. We see plenty of people staking tons of hex. Some of them staking, we've even seen like hundreds of millions staked for 30 days or 6 months or 10 days and stuff like that. So I don't know. It sort of feels like a lot of people holding hex, especially some of the bigger players, are starting to make some moves, or at least get more excited about the market than they have been earlier this year. So that's been pretty cool to see lately. Shout out to Wallace Jay. Good to see you. Bookadoo, Degen Hexkin. She says, welcome to country. Would love to invite Carlos with RG3. Reach out to you next. Yeah. If you're ever interested. Carlos is under contract right now, okay? No, you cannot have him. No. Just kidding. So I don't know if you know RG3, but they do Discord.
Yeah. No, we've talked in person briefly. RG3 is the pirate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pirate. Yeah.
I love people like that. He's a pirate, right? Oh yeah. He's there.
Yeah, we had a Pulse meetup. One of my friends organized here in Santa Monica, and he was there, and he was briefly talking to me about the launch of his firm, which was like accounting, wealth management, and they were doing something for the community as well, where they were creating tax strategies and state protection strategies with different types of trusts and all these different things. So he was telling me about it, and he seemed to know a lot about taxes as well, and what's going on with the community as well.
Yeah, RGV is definitely one of the original, like one of the first streamers. Done a ton for the community. Does the PulseChain tour. He on SJ. Black Hexagon, and then do the PulseChain tour meetups. Been just traveling around the world doing meetups and conferences and stuff like that. So let me I can, if y'all don't have the contact information already, I can connect you all, no problem. But let's see. Questions. Are crypto bribes taxable?
Yeah, they are actually. So I know it's meant to be funny, but there's actually a requirement for you to record those. Obviously, the bribe is a joke, but if you do send money to someone, there's a new requirement. You used to be required to just record it on your crypto tax report as a disposition, meaning that you no longer hold the crypto and it's a taxable event as capital gains. But if the transaction is greater than the $10,000 amount, now you have to file a specific form for transactions greater than $10,000. So not only do you have to report it as a capital gain or capital loss event, but you also have to record it as a transaction over $10,000, and you have to file that form. So yes, to answer that question.
And that's funny. Yeah, I think you were telling me before, sometime on the show, somebody asked a question maybe similar to that, was like, is are drugs taxable or something like that, some kind of transactions, or are illegal activities taxable? I don't remember what it was, but you're like, yeah.
There's actually a website from the IRS. Like if you click on the page and you put illegal activities, there is a whole section of it saying that illegal activities are actually required to be reported as taxable income for yourself.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, you actually are required, and there is a specific thing. There was actually a famous court case. I don't know what year, 70s, 80s. A drug pin, a big mob guy, I guess, was selling a bunch of coke, and he recorded the sales of the coke, and that's where the court case decided that he wasn't allowed to do operational expenses, but just cost of goods sold, which is the purchase of a coke. So it's revenue minus cost of goods sold equals to taxable income for those type of tax returns. And no operational like payroll and fuel and gas, all that no longer is not taxable to them, but they do have a specific topic in the tax community that they do have to report taxes. I mean, so they're criminals anyway, so I don't think that they are reporting it on the taxes, but the IRS does require it.
Didn't know. Fox Monitor asks, gas fees deductible?
Yeah, they're added into the cost basis of the transactions. You don't have to worry about any of this, Fox Mulder. If you actually get a crypto tax tool, I recommend cryptotaxcalculator.io or Coinly with a K, Koinly. And it'll automatically calculate your gas fees and your rewards and, categorize them as income. And it'll recognize and scrape the blockchain for all the taxable transactions that you may have. And there's going to be questionable ones. And Pulse community has been reaching out to me quite a lot saying like, hey, Carlos, have you been receiving a lot of problems with how to categorize the PulseChain type of transactions? Because prices are not showing up, or the cost basis is being miscalculated, specifically on Coinly. And they're not able to properly do a report for all the PulseChain transactions because the cost basis. I mean, all the tokens that we got were with a cost basis of 0, so we got to make sure that that's correct first. And all these other projects that people are getting involved in, they can get complicated because they're doing stakes, and you have to understand the protocol and all these different things. But it is important that you go out there and get a nice tax tool for yourself, since again the IRS has also increased the enforcement specifically on crypto. And is going to start the enforcement in 2025 2026, since the budget got increased for the last 2 years on specifically enforcement. So it's important that you get yourself a nice tool, and obviously those type of transactions with the gas fees is automatically going to be calculated for you.
Gotcha. If you stake a token for less than a year but wait over a year to claim it, can you claim it as a long-term capital gain?
Well, like you said, if you're talking about the difference between a short-term capital gain and a long-term capital gain, but you claiming a token has nothing to do whether it's going to be a short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain. That is more involved into you buying and selling the token in itself, but not, claiming it. So maybe your question is more about the context that you were talking about, which is you bought a smart contract, it's increasing in value over time, and you want to wait more than a year to then claim all those different tokens. And it really depends on your accounting method, and also how that's showing up on the crypto tax report. One thing would be, for example, if it does show up as a long-term transaction from the purchase to the claiming, then yeah, it would be a long-term capital gains. But also your accounting method is important to know, whether you're in FIFO, LIFO, HIFO, because it will matter, right? Because you might be grabbing inventory from the one that you purchased. If you have last in first out, then it might be considered a short-term transaction because of the accounting method, irrelevant to the fact that that's a unique transaction that was considered long-term. Just because you have other inventory and the accounting method has been selected to be as such, it could be considered a short-term transaction. So those are the two things that you might want to pay attention to. What is your accounting method? And what are we talking about when it comes to claiming? Is it really recorded as a capital gain transaction or not? Because you might just get the reward and not deposit it into your wallet, but in the blockchain got recorded as a deposit. I don't know. I mean, we need more details to be more specific about the specific protocol that you're talking about, but that's the overall context of it.
Sure. Do we like Pokemon coins? Oh, I thought it said Pokemon cards. This whole time I was gonna say sure, but Pokemon coins. I don't. You like Pokemon coins? I have not gotten Pokemon coins.
No. I don't.
What's a Hexkins? That's a shout out to Watts's NFTs. That the game of chicken for NFTs. I don't know if you mess around with Hedron or Icosa much, but they did a limited time NFT where there's like 20,000 of them or so, and over time they're basically like a staking, like you accrue Icosa, you accrue like another token through holding that. If you wanted to burn it, if you burn it, you can get the coin that you keep accruing from it. If not, you keep accruing it, and it's like a game of chicken over time. Like people, like whoever burns theirs, they get the coins, but then the share of everyone else increases, so they get like more tokens. Anyways, not very important. Interesting concept, but not many people know about it because it's like a limited time thing that happened a couple years ago or so now. Shout out to Watts NFTs. Only one of the few NFTs I think about from time to time. I think that's most of the token or most of the questions. Tax hack, never sell. Probably referring to loans and stuff we talked about before as well.
No, Eagle AI said that he's still holding. So he's probably diamond hands type of person, and
or that
he's talking about probably like never sell. I have to sell, man. I have to sell. I mean, I gotta buy property, man. I want that Lambo, so that means that I gotta sell somehow.
True.
But
Well,
it is a nice, yeah, a collateralized loan would be a nice tax hack as well. Unless you
yeah,
get liquidated, then it becomes a taxable event, and then you're screwed.
yeah. Definitely make sure if you're into that, you look at the risks and yeah, the liquidation's a key factor as well. Carlos, what else? Is there any? I think you mentioned a couple of changes, maybe nothing big this year, but any interesting changes to the tax code that affects crypto?
No, I mean we got a memorandum talking about that for sure. The IRS is going to treat Bitcoin as a property, not as currency, because there was a whole debate about it. So there was confirmation that it is going to be property moving forward. We got the for sure the Inflation Reduction Act introduced the 1099-DA. Which is going to come from jurisdictionally American companies like Coinbase and so forth, providing 1099-DAs as if they're considered brokers. Um, Obviously, I don't know how they're going to deal with all the DeFi projects and stuff, but we'll see. And the enforcement of the IRS has officially started when it comes to the increase in budget. I'm building a platform. They're doing good things. I went to a conference specifically with the IRS commissioner, where he's talking about the improvements and the different things that are on the positive side of the IRS, like answering the phone within the first 5 minutes, which sometimes I do get that. Sometimes it takes 2 hours, but it is getting better. They are building online platforms to be able to do simpler types of tax returns. Meaning, if you have a simple tax return that you do in TurboTax, they're probably going to come up with a platform. They got tons of billions of dollars in their budget now. So they're going to do something online related where it comes to streamlining the tax preparation process. And then the majority, the one thing that he did talk about is the fact that now the majority of that budget is going to go into enforcement, meaning that there's going to be a ton of audits moving forward. And there is a specific budget that got allocated for crypto. So it is important to know that within the future, it's important that we get into the perspective of complying with the reporting requirements. And it could be a headache. It could be a headache to find someone that knows it. It could be a headache for you to get it organized with everything that you got going on and dealing with categorization of all these different transactions. But it is something that you have to accept if you want to comply with obviously US regulation and IRS regulation. So I just want to emphasize that enforcement is coming, and just make sure that you're good to go. At least on the reporting side.
Maybe we all have the maddest of gains, so all the taxes that we do pay don't seem so bad. Maybe that's a silver lining. If we all get the maddest of gains, mad gains keep coming.
Or right now, just harvest those losses so you can have that accumulated, so you don't have to pay taxes on those mad gains.
That's one thing we talked about. Yeah, if you just joined, Carlos talked about that a little bit earlier as well, as we also went over quite a few other questions. Appreciate you all asking questions. Shout out to Fox Mulder. He asked by far the most.
Really good questions.
Yeah, as well. Carlos, I put your contact in the chat, your Twitter at least. Where can people contact you or otherwise?
Yeah, Twitter. Just click on that link. Send me a message on Twitter. Tweet at me. I'll respond. Post a comment on your tweet. Tag me in it. I'll respond to it. And so I'm pretty involved with it. So just reach out to me through there, and I'll be happy to engage in conversation.
Awesome. Oops. Oh, also, thank you, Fox Mulder. I meant to click on this one. The last question, real quick. Which is the best tool for the best? Which tool is best for taxes? Coinly. You mentioned Coinly and another website. Is that right?
Yeah, Coin Tax Calculator. No, Crypto Tax Calculator. Crypto Tax Calculator.
CryptoTaxCalculator.com.
.io, I think. Let me see. Let me give you the right link. Crypto Tax.
Okay.
Yeah, cryptotaxcalculator.io. They're actually reaching out quite a lot to me to have conversations with them so we can go ahead and give them direct feedback on multiple protocols and so forth for a solution, for people. But it is a very good tool. I've already tried it and it's very user friendly, and then it's advanced. I'm going to start migrating a lot of my clients from Coinly, I think, to Crypto Tax Calculator, because Coinly is failing in some areas when it comes to, like, at least for PulseChain. So we'll see if they reach out after that comment, hopefully, so we can address those concerns.
Does Crypto Tax Calculator support PulseChain?
Yeah,
Okay,
they do.
nice.
Yeah, I've been talking to them since the beginning of Pulse launch, and they reached out to me, letting me know that they were actually going to implement it, and they have, so they were pretty aware of the launch anyway.
Nice. Mr. Solano says 0 cost base if all else fails. Is he wrong? Is he wrong, Carlos?
0 cost basis. Yeah, well, he probably means like we didn't pay for the coins anyway. So if it all goes wrong, we didn't pay for it, but we did a sacrifice. So
I think, or at least the way I first interpreted it was like, if you don't keep track of it, or you basically pay the most tax with 0 cost basis, right?
Oh, yeah. yeah. You do pay a ton of money. Right now, there is a lot of problems with that with Coinly. Specifically, one client that reached out from New York, he said, that he has 0 cost basis in all the different assets that he's got on PulseChain, and he's creating a massive capital gain for him, which he doesn't. It's like everything's at a loss, but everything's showing zero cost basis. Oh, and then there was also a Coinbase update on because they want to report taxes better, so they changed the data from one platform to another one, and that caused the cost basis to disappear for all the Coinbase clients. So it's important to figure how to fix that too. So there's tons of stuff going on, but
yeah. And reminder everyone, I am not a tax professional. I do not give financial advice of any sort. However, Carlos, it's kind of his job. It's kind of what he does. Been doing it for a while. So everything he says on the show is probably should go in a book somewhere as official guidance, right, Carlos? You can sign.
No.
That's good. No. All right, everyone. Go ahead.
Yeah, but thank you for having me, dude. I appreciate it.
Of course. Always a great show, man. To come back again, and every it sounds like 2 October. So things going to slow down a little bit. You're going to enjoy the holidays and then get back into it.
I'm going to go to Iceland on the 18th. I'll be there for 2 weeks. So I'm definitely excited to just finish October 15. And then I'm out for 2 weeks and then I'll come back.
Sweet. It's been a while since I've been to Iceland, but very fun place. Wow. Enjoy it. Everyone else out there, you're going to Iceland or you're just staying at home and enjoying yourself. May you have the maddest of gains. Maybe we see some more green candles, and hopefully all your taxes go well, and we got some time. We got quite a few time before then. But anyways, that's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.